Before we begin the program, I would like to read an email that I received from Martha Cantor. Martha Cantor was a member of our Board of Trustees for a long period of time, was chancellor at Foothill De Anza District, an old friend of mine and a student of mine, and got her degree with me many years ago. And she's now the Undersecretary of Education. Particularly, she's responsible for higher education in the Obama administration. And she sent the following email, which I'd like to read. Particularly, this is addressed to our faculty and staff. Dear Alan, I wanted to take a moment to applaud you and the board for receiving this distinguished award from the American Psychological Association. Please thank the faculty and staff for bringing your university such a wonderful honor. Best, Martha. Martha's had a lot to do with our school and its success, and she realizes that the key is the faculty and the staff, and it was nice of her to particularly acknowledge them. Before we enter again into the formal program, if you look up there, you'll see Joyce Chu. We really had to alter this program dramatically. When I originally talked to Kathy, who's coming out from APA, I said, well, we want to make sure we have the program early enough so that Joyce, who's the star of the show, can be there because she's pregnant. Joyce, baby came at 29 weeks about a week ago. The baby is doing well for someone born that early. And the last email that I got from her was 2 days ago. She still cannot have visitors, she being Joyce. And hooray for modern medicine that can keep premature infants alive and have them grow up healthy. As a matter of fact, Liesel, who's standing over there, was saying that her twins were also premature at roughly the same amount and just have flourished. So Joyce is really the person who put all of this together. I'd like us to take a moment and pray for her health and full recovery, and also the baby whose name is Grayson, that Grayson grow up to be the kind of wonderful, strong child that Joyce so hopes he will. So let's take a moment just to pray. Thank you. It's been very traumatic for Joyce. With all the, again, wonders of modern medicine, it's still been a very traumatic thing. And I know that she will be pleased to know that this happened and that we prayed for her. Joyce is, you can see by her smile, what a really wonderful addition she is to our faculty. And this was supposed to be her day, and it can't be, but we will make it as much her day as we can. And you will hear more about Joyce later on. Has Mayor Espinoza appeared? There he is. Sid, can you come up and say a few words, please? The mayor is the mayor of the city of Palo Alto, and I'll talk a little bit about our relationship with the city after the mayor, who used to be at HP and now James tells me is at Microsoft. So it is true. There you go. Thank you.
Very briefly, thank you so much for having me here today, and congratulations, of course. I recall when you first came forward with the proposals for this institution, really about having a new facility, there was a lot of excitement in town. This is a community for sure that has valued education for many, many years in all its different forms. And I think the work that you're doing here in particular resonates in this community because people really want to understand full health and well-being, really understand how a community comes together to talk about problems and issues and work through those things together. understanding that you need to be sort of solid in yourself and then helping others around you. And the incredible work that you're doing here to really understand that on an academic level is something to be applauded, and I'm glad it's being recognized here today. So thank you for having me as well, and again, on behalf of the entire city, congratulations.
There is another university in the area that you may have heard of, some named Stanford, yes. And we partner with them, and they're very kind to us. And we have a women's health program, and we have a consortium that gives the PsyD degree with them. And we have a great respect and admiration, and we're glad that we are partnering with them. Having said that, we wanted to do something different with Palo Alto. So we formed a town and gown council. And we want to make our facilities available to not-for-profits and to the government of the city of Palo Alto, for them to have events here at no charge, for them to feel that they're stakeholders in our success. And again, as I say, there's this other school not too far from here, and it's a terrific university also, but we're trying to be different. We're trying to say, we're not apart from you, we are a part of you. And so I was very pleased and flattered that the mayor would take time out of his busy schedule and come today. June Klein heads up our town and gown council and had our first meeting, and we're going to have another one later on. But we want to be the university that Palo Alto looks to for certain things that only an institution of higher education with a faculty and staff like ours can give. I now like to introduce the chair of our board, and I'd like to say something. Our board of trustees challenges us all the time to be the very best. To be the very best of what we are, what our vision statement indicates, and what we're really focused on. We cannot do everything. We don't have a wonderful football team or a quarterback named Luck. In fact, we're a lot different than a huge, successful institution like Stanford. But what we do exceedingly well. And our faculty is the finest faculty in the country in our area. We, as I say, we do only certain things, and we are pleased when we can partner with people like Stanford and its School of Medicine, which is a wonderful place. But our faculty has said to us, be the best. We are going to hold you accountable, have the best faculty, have the best students. James in particular has said, we want you to be student-centered. We want the students who come to this school to have a wonderful experience, and later on you'll hear from them. I now want to introduce James Otieno, who's the chair of our board of trustees. James?
Thank you, Alan. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thank you. Thank you. First of all, thanks for coming out, and I'm pretty sure that if we didn't have food, we'd probably see about half of you here. So, and it should be fairly interesting for those of you that will be going to classes later on this afternoon, because the liquor was going much faster than the water and the soda. So the classes should be quite interesting. I'll be brief in my comments, and in fact very brief, because we have a number of distinguished speakers that are going to come after me and will tell you a whole lot more about Palo Alto University. First of all, I am honored and privileged to be affiliated with the university, and it's a great honor to welcome all of you, students, faculty, administration, the media. I'm pretty sure that times where the media doesn't get a rousing welcome, but we're really glad that you're here. And so on the media, the Mayor of Palo Alto, and all of the others, the faculty and others that are friends of the university. But I especially want to welcome the person that's probably traveled the farthest today to get here today, and who will be presenting us with the award, Dr. Catherine Grus. Over there. So welcome to all of you. This is a great occasion for in the milestone achievement and a milestone achievement for Palo Alto University, and it certainly is a small step as we move forward in our growth, because we certainly aspire to be as good and better than a big neighbor as to the actually I believe they're to the south of us, north of us. No. Yeah, something like that. Something like that. And my final comment is, we actually do have a couple of athletic teams at Palo Alto University. We do have a softball team. It's a ragtag band, but nevertheless, we do have a softball team, and they won once last year. And we also have an inline skating team. So we're not all just about academics. We do have fun. So welcome and thank you.
The next person I want to introduce is our Chief Academic Officer, Bill Froming. Bill was one of my first hires. He is an amazing person who has moved us forward in a positive trajectory for a number of years. And many of the programs that you see, he initiated. This particular grant, I'll let him talk more about it, because it's part of a grant that we also got from the state of California. Gave us $750,000. This particular award, I should say, and the grant and the award kind of go together. Bill is a terrific guy, and he is going to now MC the academic part of the program. Bill?
Thank you, Alan. Well, at a time when government is a target of scorn for many, today we get to celebrate an important success. In 2004, then Assemblyman Darrell Steinberg, currently the Senate President pro tem, wrote an initiative to support mental health in California. They gathered over 370,000 signatures for the measure, and on November 2nd, 2004, Prop 63, known as the Mental Health Services Act, passed. It levied a 1% increase in California state income tax on people with incomes over $1 million, thereby generating $750 million for improving mental health services in the state. And I'm sure you'd agree, you haven't really missed the 1%, have you? By the way, in 2009, Prop 1E attempted to raid the fund, but it failed. In July 2008, Dr. Jorge Wong, who you'll hear from in a second, a PAU alum and the Director of Behavioral Health Services at the Asian Americans for Community Involvement, sent me an email about an initiative from the California Department of Mental Health. They wanted to expand the workforce of mental health professionals who could work in community mental health agencies. The funding for the project came from Prop 63. We pulled together a team from PAU, including Harry Ann Mills, and Drs. Luli Emmons, Larry Butler, Joyce Chu, Bob Reiser. We identified community partners and wrote the proposal. The faculty created a curriculum that would accompany the students' clinical experience in the community agencies. The result was a successful proposal that was funded by the California Department of Mental Health and subsequently renewed for another 3 years, providing a total funding of $1.25 million, and is the reason we are here today. The credit for this must begin with Darrell Steinberg, who helped get Prop 63 on the ballot, and the citizens of California for approving the measure. Beneficiaries of the program are certainly the PAU faculty and students who are involved in the program, but also the citizens of the state of California who will reap the benefits of the program for many years to come. Sometimes government does work the way it is supposed to.
Hi, I'm Luli Emmons. I'm the coordinator of the MHSA program here, and the DCMH is related to our MHSA grant that we received from the state of California. I want to say a little bit about the DCMH program. Under the leadership of our gifted faculty member, Joyce Chu, we designed the Diversity and Community Mental Health program as a collaboration with agency training directors, faculty, and administration. We created a program to meet contemporary challenges in public service and professional psychology by using innovative approaches in graduate education. In the DCMH program, our major objective is to train clinical psychologists in roles and skills to meet public mental health needs and to become leaders in addressing specific needs of diverse and underserved communities. The award is for innovation. While collaboration is not innovative in its own right, the DCMH program is distinguished by the extent and depth of collaboration between all stakeholders involved: faculty, community mental health training directors, supervisors and staff, consumers, program administrators, and students. Doctors Goldblum and Wong, who will be speaking after me, and two of our students will describe aspects of that program in more detail, particularly with regard to academic curriculum and community partnerships. We believe that this program, recognized by the APA Board of Education Affairs for Innovation, significantly affects the quality of education and training provided to students, and through those students, significantly affects the quality of services and lives of the people those students will serve. The 36 students who have enrolled in the program have or will provide a minimum of 6,000 hours of community mental health direct service while enrolled. That says nothing about what they will go on to provide in direct service, and 4 times that in indirect service, and this is at minimum. The DCMH cohort represents up to 12 different ethnicities, 16 different language proficiencies, and 5 sexual minority diversity as well. Of those 36 students, 16 have accepted stipends funded by the California Department of Mental Health through our program, and in so doing have made a commitment to work in public mental health settings in California postdoctorally. I want to acknowledge key contributors to the development of the DCMH program, and I certainly won't be able to mention everyone, but to give credit to the people that were involved in the development, doctors, training directors and psychologists in community mental health services, Dr. Carol Kerr of Marin Mental Health, who is in the back of the room, Jorge Wong at Asian Americans for Community Involvement, who will speak, Charles Preston, who is here as well from Santa Clara County Mental Health, and John Bachman at El Dorado County Mental Health. The faculty that have been very involved in the development of this program and who teach, Drs. Bob Reiser, Lou Moffitt, Elin Barrera, Peter Goldblum, and Larry Butler, and Bill Froming. And last but not least, the California Department of Mental Health that set the guidelines and guidelines for the spirit of this program, and have and for Proposition 63 funds to create the workforce education and training programs that led to the grant awarded to us, and who have worked very closely with us along the way as consultants and partners and collaborators. We hope this recognition will inspire other programs to develop coursework, research, and training for students, to develop competencies as clinicians, leaders, administrators, advocates, researchers, and consultants for populations served by public mental health settings. Thank you for being here to celebrate this with us. I'm now going to introduce Dr. Robert Russell, who is the Director of Clinical Training for the PhD program.
As the Director of Clinical Training, I oversee the number of areas of emphasis and academic programs in the PhD section of our school. And to be very brief, I'd like to say that this award and this program in community mental health and diversity crystallizes a commitment that the university has made to be relevant to the issues that beset the communities in which we can make a difference. And our reach is worldwide. So I'm very proud that this has crystallized it. But as a director of clinical training, and as perhaps the last thing I'll say is, this is great, but it's the tip of the iceberg of what we're going to do here at Palo Alto University. We have 6 other areas of emphasis, and over the next few years, hopefully you will be back and singing their praises with us as well. And just to give you a sense, we have a wonderful growing area in child and family. We have a wonderful area that's growing in forensics, and we have a wonderful area that's growing in LGBTQ. And we expect those to be as excellent as the program that we're here to celebrate now. So thank you very much. I'd like to introduce now 2 speakers who've been committed to this program from the outset. Dr. Goldblum, I think, will be the first speaker, and then Jorge Wong. Oh, Jorge Wong will speak first? Okay, good.
Good afternoon, and thank you all for coming. As an alumni from PGSP or PAU, we rock. We beat the red school on the other side with the blue school. As a director of a community mental health program, I wanted to share a little bit about the meaningfulness of collaboration with community agencies. I think this collaboration is unique because in community mental health, psychologists have really been missing for the last maybe 30 years due to a lot of economic downturn. The systems have turned down more towards master level individuals to actually become the administrators, the service providers, and even the ones who develop and strategize about the system. And psychologists have really been missing. Once we actually got this particular grant, one of my mentors, Dr. Florence Keller, jokingly said, this is to reintroduce clinical psychologists into the community mental health system. And why is this particular partnership so unique? One of the things that students who actually do training with us at our agency, I do take them along with me. I do take them along to see what psychologists not only do clinical work, they don't just run programs, they sit in policy-making committees. I take them not only to the local ones, but also to private and public sectors, as well as the state level. That is where individuals can actually see how consumers or clients that are actually doing well are part of the development process of the policy, the service delivery, and the design of the entire community mental health system through the wellness and recovery access and philosophy of the MHSA. So I think students are able to see consumers at the state level, at the and also even at the national level when they actually talk with NAMI folks. One of the other things that I also want to encourage folks is to really identify themselves with some of the efforts that they are doing through mental health. Myself, as a family member of a consumer of mental health services, I think it's important that we also carry the voice and share and bring the expertise that we have, not only as a professional, but also as a consumer and also a family member into the public mental health system. I think through all this training and bringing psychology students back into the public health sector, they're learning to do requests for proposal, designing programs. And one of the things that you guys don't know is that some of the students actually were in the first cohort help our agency write a grant to the United Nations to actually help train psychologists in how to deal with trauma and those who are tortured. That actual RFP got solidified, and now we're actually training students and licensed professionals through the grant that PGSP DCMH students help us write. So anyways, I'm really proud to be here today, and I think This is a very small school, but it packs a heavy, heavy punch. Thank you.
I've been asked to somewhat fulfill Joyce's shoes in terms of describing what our curriculum is. You would think that they would be small shoes, but they're actually quite large. I actually spoke with Joyce this morning, and she sends everybody her very best. Every day she seems to feel a little stronger, and I knew that there was a shift because the last time I spoke to her, she was not particularly interested in all the dissertations and things that we were trying to patch together to cover for her. And today she said, well, I guess I have to be on the phone for those dissertations. We got them covered, we got them covered. So she, you know, that light is coming back, and she's, I think she'll be with us fully lightened up, hopefully very, very soon. About a year ago, I was meeting with a close friend of mine who's the chair of Department of Psychiatry at San Francisco General, also one of the major players in the community mental health system in San Francisco. I knew him when he was the director of the UCSF AIDS Health Project, and he said, what are you training your psychologists to do? He said, you know, we just passed a resolution in the Department in Community Mental Health in San Francisco that we are no longer going to hire psychologists for line psychotherapists. You know, we have found that master's level psychologists and counselors are able to do the kind of online work as well as highly paid psychologists. So what are you training your psychologists to do? Are you just training them for jobs that aren't going to be there? Skeptical. And I said, well, I'm glad you asked. We have a new program called the Community Mental Health Program, which trains our students to be psychologists in the 21st century. So how do we do that? Well, first of all, I think we do that throughout our whole curriculum, looking at evidence-based training, looking at research, so that we're training our graduates to be leaders in the field of helping to bring the best that psychology has to our communities. Now, this is actually requiring a shift in attitude, knowledge, and skills. Now, the knowledge areas, while important, I think, you know, I'll just go through some of the things that we teach, the models of community mental health, talking about working with vulnerable populations, seriously ill, homelessness, cultural competence, discrimination, stigma, health disparities, risk management, suicide, organizational things. All of these areas really have translated pretty well over the last 20 years. I think this program is an incubator, and hopefully it will work its way out to all of our graduates, is how to deliver that knowledge to underrepresented populations. How do we get that knowledge there? And that requires a retooling of our thinking from the community will come to us to we must come to the community. And so a lot of what we do in the second course, the one that Dr. Wong and I teach, is actually give exercises where students actually have to learn how to go out in the community, assess what the community needs are, help work together, which I personally think is one of the major skills that we train in. How to work in groups, how to work as teams, how to develop projects and strategies for making that happen. So in our program, we not only teach the most current, up-to-date community public health, public mental health, public health, have a background in public health, and I hope that we also train our students to see things in a public health manner, but how to help our students actually actualize and go to the community. The last thing I want to say is that I've been associated with Palo Alto University since it was Pacific Graduate Schools for over 30 years now. And I think today is one of the proudest moments of my tenure here. I'm proud of it on several different levels. We teach ecological approach to community mental health, which means everything has to be seen on several different levels. So first level is that the board and the administration move beyond intention into behavior, into implementation. It's one thing to have good intention, getting it done is another. I'm proud that the faculty has worked tirelessly to look at the issue of diversity, both through our diversity committee, who has revamped our whole diversity curriculum, through our new community of excellence, Center of Excellence with Dr. Stanley Sue. And third, I'm proud that 4 of the major contributors to this project are graduates of Palo Alto University or Pacific Graduate School. And I calculated that between the 4 of us, we have over 100 years of service. I'm not sure if that makes me feel better or makes me feel. And finally, I am so proud that we have been able to bring young faculty like Joyce Chu, like Alin Barrera, people who really epitomize the excellence of research, the excellence of training, the passion, the commitment to underserved populations. I am totally confident that we're leaving this program in really good hands. So finally, you know, you would think that this program is only about faculty and uppity-ups, but in fact, what really makes this program work are the students. You know, there was an old movie, if you build it, they will come. Well, they have come, they're great, and I'd like to introduce 2 examples of our wonderful student body. I look over, would every student who's in the community mental health program please stand up? So you can see that we are really attracting more and more people of diverse backgrounds, people with true passion for this. And now I'd like to introduce 2 of those students. I'm going to introduce them both first, and then I'll call up Jessica. Jessica Byrd-Olmstead. I first met Jessica, and briefly I was her supervisor at the UCSF AIDS Health Project. I had to drop out, but I can tell you she made a very good reputation for herself in our program there. She went on to work in juvenile hall. She did a pre-doctoral internship at the Kaiser Chemical Dependency Program. No, she's doing that now, right? And she also did a rotation like all of our students in the Byrd-Olmstead Clinic. Let me introduce Ginny so that you can just follow her up. Ginny Estupinian. Oh, God. I practice it. Estupinian. Okay. What I said on your dissertation committee, you would have thought after all of that I would have been able to say it, but I'm nervous. She did one of her practicum at the Palo Alto VA, another at Santa Clara County, and I think you're our first graduate and who's now working at the Santa Clara Valley Medical. So I'm going to introduce Jessica Byrd-Olmstead.
Thanks, Dr. Goldblum. Move this down a little bit. It's a hard act to follow. Okay, so as Dr. Goldblum said, I'm Jessica Byrd-Olmstead. I'm a 5th year here at Palo Alto University in the DCMH program, and I'm currently a predoctoral intern at Kaiser in chemical dependency in Walnut Creek. So I wrote a little something out, so hopefully it won't be too boring for all of you. First, a thank you to APA Board of Educational Affairs. I am honored to speak as a student who has completed the Diversity and Community Mental Health track, as a recipient of the Mental Health Services Act Scholarship, and as a student who was part of the first cohort of the DCMH track. As part of a manuscript I helped write on increasing psychologists in public service, I researched all APA accredited programs in clinical psychology, and yes, there's over 200 of them, so that was a lot of work, and found that only 16% of those programs had tracks specific to diversity and or community mental health. However, our track, DCMH, is one of the only tracks that infuses coursework, clinical training, and research, taking a 3-pronged approach. I came to DCMH with a strong desire to work with stigmatized groups, including, excuse me, ethnic minorities, substance users, individuals in the justice system, and individuals with HIV/AIDS. DCMH has helped position me in a way where I am not only equipped to work with these groups as a clinician and researcher, but now as a policymaker, administrator, and instructor. Through the coursework in DCMH, I have learned how to write grants, consult with organizations, conduct systems-level interventions, and facilitate community-based research, as well as advocate at local, state, and federal levels. The following list is not so much to boast about my personal accomplishments, which I've been known to do, as an individual student, but they're a reflection of the direct collaboration I've had with the staff that you see before you. And my awards and accolades, again, a direct reflection of the training that I have received in DCMH. I have been honored to work as a practicum student in multiple community mental health settings, including the UCSF AIDS Health Project, Asian Americans for Community Involvement, the San Mateo County Youth Service Center Juvenile Hall, and as Dr. Goldblum mentioned, I'm now predoctoral intern at Kaiser in chemical dependency. I have been able to use the skills that I have learned in DCMH coursework at all of these sites and was able to implement trainings on LGBTQ youth with the San Mateo County Juvenile Probation Department, general staff, and now I have helped to implement a CEU-approved training for all behavioral health and recovery services clinicians, staff, and interns in the county of San Mateo. At each of these sites, I have incorporated the spirit of DCMH, which consists of the integration of evidence-based practice with culturally and community-appropriate care. Regarding consultation, I have learned to operate on multidisciplinary teams, adopting a humble attitude, while holding the knowledge of the unique skills I have to offer as a DCMH alumni. As a researcher, my focus on community-based research with substance users, increasing the quality and access of evidence-based substance use treatment, and my dissertation has addressed the disproportionate number of Latino males arrested for drunk in public in Santa Clara County, improving law enforcement arrest practice transparency, and increasing community awareness about controversial issues such as racial profiling and culturally competent substance use intervention under the guidance of my chair, Dr. Lewis Moffett, who I don't know if he's here, if you're here, which I recently completed. Yay! I have also been honored to work on 2 publications with DCMH faculty about public psychology in collaboration with Dr. Joyce Chu, and I was also honored to serve as Dr. Chu's teaching assistant. Lastly, and perhaps my favorite part of the DCMH track, is its spirit of advocacy. I have been inspired by faculty such as Dr. Jorge Wong to lobby at the state level with the California Psychological Association for mental health parity, and also at this year's APA convention as part of the Psych Advocates Day with the Public Interest Caucus. I was able to lobby Congress at Capitol Hill for continued funding for the Minority Fellowship Program and the Graduate Psychology Education Program with Dr. Nina Thomas. Also while in DC this time around, I enjoy going to DC. Hopefully you'll see me there one day. I was able to receive an honorable mention from APA's Division 18 Psychologist in Public Service for the Outstanding Student Award. DCMH has helped me to solidify my plans of a lifelong goal of running for public office, as I strongly believe that psychologists are poised to sit at the table of policymakers, determining the future of our nation considering our expertise in human behavior, and more specifically, the unique skill sets that I have acquired as a DCMH student. I hope to one day sit side by side with psychologists in public office, such as Congresswoman Judy Chu and Senator Lee Laney. I have already started building relationships with local assembly members, including Jim Bell and Paul Fong, with all thanks to DCMH faculty, and hope to work on research-informed policy regarding the treatment of ethnic minorities and individuals with mental health and substance users by law enforcement in the state of California. Again, all of these opportunities would not have been possible without this track. As private practice becomes more competitive with the influx of master's level clinicians, I feel prepared to take on the ever-changing landscape of clinical psychology. With the changing face of healthcare reform and guild issues such as the internship crisis and the academic decline of positions for faculty members as our nation battles with an uncertain economic future. Because of DCMH, I am not worried about my professional security. In sum, DCMH has been so much more than an emphasis at a graduate program that I took to fulfill a requirement. It is the foundation and springboard for my professional future. I am forever indebted to the individuals who have made this possible for me and the other DCMH students. A special thanks to Drs. Wong, Chu, Barrera, Goldblum, Moffitt, Emmons, and Reiser, who have helped shape the future of my academic life. It is my hope that the DCMH track will become a gold standard that all other graduate programs in clinical psychology aspire to. Thanks.
Hello. Looks like I'm the last speaker before the awards presentation. I am so honored to be the first graduate of this program. I feel very fortunate. I kind of slid in at the last minute because when I came in and applied for the DCMH program, I was actually heading out for my pre-doc internship. So I'm very grateful that I was accepted to the program, and I have learned so much by being part of this track. I came to community mental health in kind of an unconventional way. We didn't have this curriculum when I attended school here, so I applied to Santa Clara Valley Med for my practicum, didn't think I would get in, got in, and I fell in love with the work I did there. We did a lot of work with the homeless population. We worked on the inpatient unit, so I had a chance to see severe mental illness every day. But I also realized we didn't really have a curriculum at school that would cover what psychologists need to know going into this profession. So what was really exciting is that when I found out that they were going to be offering these courses, I jumped in because I had completed the health psychology sequence, and this seemed like a nice marriage. So I wanted to share a little bit about my journey and where I'm at today and how I've used this curriculum. When I started out at Santa Clara Valley Med, we were doing a lot of service using a wraparound approach. And this is what we learned quite a bit about in the DCMH program. A wraparound approach is when a psychologist actually works with the physicians, the psychiatrists, the social workers, and the group works as a team to make decisions for patients. This is something I had done on my training, but I didn't exactly know how to define it. When I went through the DCMH program, we learned how to do that. And we also learned how to apply it. So that's been something that's been really helpful, especially among homeless patients, because they have so many needs. And one thing that's so fulfilling about working at a homeless outpatient clinic right now is that a lot of the physicians walk around, they say, wow, we create miracles every day. There's really something to be said when a social worker sits with a psychologist, sits with a doctor, and we all make decisions for one individual, because then we can all use our professions to best serve them. And it's great when you could see someone who's not functioning very well go out into the community again. So that's been really rewarding and something I've gotten out of this training. The other thing that I learned through the DCMH program is the use of the strengths-based approach. And what that means is that we focus on what patients are good at. And this is really important working with homeless populations because everybody has a strength. So what we do is we try to find out what the strength is for each individual patient and use that strength to help them overcome whatever difficulties they may be experiencing. So kind of bringing it full circle, I went on to do my internship at Asian Americans for Community Involvement with Dr. Wong up front here. And Dr. Wong took me in and did offered me a number of different things, such as grant writing experience, and I found out that one of the grants I was involved in was accepted and funded, so it was nice to bring some money to the bottom line there, and I'm trying to do that in the county system right now as well, and also had a chance to do a KPIC site visit at UC Merced and see how the accreditation process goes to work. And lastly, he took me to several of the Department of Mental Health meetings. And this is so important in what I do now in the county because I have a better understanding of how decisions are made. And until you go in and actually sit down at these meetings, it's hard to conceptualize how decisions are made in the county system. So coming full circle, right now I'm currently a supervisor, a neuropsychological assessor, and officially a licensed clinical psychologist as of this month for Santa Clara Valley Medical Center. And I'm really proud to say that I work with 4 wonderful supervisors with me. We all supervise, the 5 of us together, all 5 from this school. So if you want to talk about really making a difference in the community, Palo Alto University's graduates are working in the community mental health setting. I'm proud to be the latest hire there. I'm looking forward to expanding into the geriatrics division this year. So right now we're currently supervising 17 students, 14 of them from this program. So what's exciting for me to see is to come as a student, now as a supervisor, and to see the students coming in with knowledge already because they've taken these courses. So it really is making a difference, and I thank you all very much for allowing me to be part of this program. Thank you.
So it's my honor and pleasure to be able to introduce Dr. Catherine Grus from the APA Education Directorate. I've known Dr. Grus for many years. We've co-presented together, and we've recently been involved in a national study of practicum sites and presented at APA just last August. Dr. Grus is the Deputy Executive Director for Education at the American Psychological Association. She oversees the Office of Graduate and Postgraduate Education and Training in the Education Directorate. She works actively with APA governance groups, including the Board of Education Affairs, which has conferred this award. Her work is to advance, the overarching purpose of her work, I believe, is to advance policies and practices that promote high-quality education and training. An area of considerable focus in her work is the development of models and tools for competency assessment in professional psychology. And later this afternoon, she'll be speaking to faculty about that very subject. So welcome, Dr. Grus.
Thank you, Luli, for that wonderful, warm introduction, and thank you all for allowing me to have this opportunity to be here today on behalf of the American Psychological Association to recognize and celebrate these incredible accomplishments of this program. I wanted to make a few remarks to you about my observations of the program through the eyes of reading your application. But I realized as I heard all these speakers today, you guys pretty much covered everything that I could possibly say about the program from a much more personal perspective. So I'll keep those remarks fairly short. I did want to call attention to some of the words that we've been using today because I think it's really important to think about that. Psychologists, we love words, don't we? And this award carries the title of innovation in it, and that's certainly an important feature of this award. We're looking for programs that demonstrate creativity and use different ways of helping educate and prepare our next generation of psychologists. But I really think the subtext below that word of innovation is excellence. And you've heard that in several of the speakers that have spoken to you already today. This really is about excellence. And how are we best preparing our future generations of psychologists to deliver high quality services? And I think this program exemplifies in many ways the epitome of excellence in education and training, from thinking about community needs and how to better serve the communities that you're integrated with, thinking about ways to best prepare our students to continue to deliver high quality services, doing so in a way that integrates the best of psychological science with practice. It's really everybody's kind of said everything that I would share with you today. So think about and celebrate all the wonderful things that are happening in this program. And I do hope that I'm back here someday to celebrate more of your wonderful programs. This is really an inspiration for all of education and training. And as Luli mentioned, this is a big part of my passion for my position, is helping identify programs that are really doing great things in education and training and getting the word out there that we are doing wonderful things as a profession. We're giving back to our communities. We're preparing a workforce that's going to continue to deliver high quality services. I'll spend a couple minutes just talking a little bit about the award, so I hope you continue to appreciate how exciting and special this opportunity is for you. This award is relatively new. It was created back in 2002. This was a joint collaboration by the APA Board of Educational Affairs and another organization called the Council of Graduate Departments of Psychology, and that brings together graduate programs from all across the United States, and they wanted to have a mechanism to recognize outstanding education and training programs in psychology, and came up with the idea for this award, which the Board of Educational Affairs decided to go on. This is an award that some years we have one program we give to. Some years the judges have a hard time making up their minds, like this year, and we've actually found 2 outstanding programs, which in my book is a win all around, that we have so many great things happening. So we've had a long history of recognizing great programs in psychology, education, and training. So with that, I know I've been hearing a lot of people talk today, and I'd like to move to the extra fun part about my job, is to actually present the award, and I believe Dr. Wong is going to receive it on behalf of Dr. Chu, who could not be with us today. Oh. We're delighted to have you. Let me read to you what the award says, and this is: the American Psychological Association Board of Educational Affairs is pleased to present Pacific Graduate School of Psychology of Palo Alto University the BEA Award for Innovation in Graduate Education and Psychology in recognition of their curriculum emphasizing diversity and community mental health. Congratulations.
I think Joyce will be very proud of the accomplishment that we've all actually done. So I think you guys are at the beginning of a new tradition. So let's keep the awards coming for the years to come. So, all right, for Joyce.
Well, that concludes our ceremony. We had so many people here today that a lot of you had to stand. And in a sense, I apologize for that. But also in a sense, I want to recognize our sense of community and the fact that so many students and faculty and staff are here today, along with trustees and advisory council members. And somehow or other, this is a culmination, because we've worked a long time and we've worked hard, and we're all stage managers for the faculty and the students. That's our job, is to make it possible for them to do what you saw them do today. And we bask in their reflected glory. So I want to tell you that with Joy suddenly being in the hospital, we had to do a lot of quick shifting, and 2 people in particular were responsible for seeing that you have the food and the chairs and the valet parking. We're only allowed 100 parking spaces. There's more than 100 of you here today. And that's Dana Marsh. Dana, are you here? Yay, Dana. And Rhonda Hayes. You want to come up, Rhonda? Please give them a round of applause. Yay! And now we say goodbye. Get your cars from wherever they've taken them. And it's wonderful that you came today to share this moment with us. Thank you all. Bye. Well, it was very nice of you to come up.